Now, making 300K in project management through contract and stacking work is not about being special or being gifted, but it does require a certain way of operating. And if that doesn't match how someone wants to work, then this path is going to feel very miserable instead of motivating. So let's be clear about who this is not for and who this is for. So first, this path is not for people who are looking for shortcuts. If someone is constantly asking, what's the fastest way or what's the minimum I can do to get paid more, they're usually going to struggle here. At higher pay levels, there's very little margin for shallow work. Shortcuts show up as missed details or unclear communication or poor decisions, and those things get noticed quickly. Second, this is not for people who avoid accountability. In contract work, especially remote contract work, there's nowhere to hide. If something slips, it's very obvious. If communication breaks down, people know exactly who owns it. If you're the type of person who needs constant direction or reassurance, this environment will feel very stressful very fast. And then third, this path is not a good fit for people who need heavy supervision or structure imposed on them. When you're working contracts, no one is managing your day for you. You're expected to manage your own workload, your own time, your own priorities without being chased. If that level of autonomy feels uncomfortable or overwhelming, it's probably a sign that more foundation needs to be built first before you move into this kind of career. And then fourth, this is not for people who value comfort over responsibility. Higher income in project management usually comes with higher expectations. You're dealing with more ambiguity, you're dealing with more stakeholders and more consequences if things go wrong. If someone wants predictable, low-pressure work above all else, there's nothing wrong with that. But this particular path will feel like the wrong trade-off. And I want to be clear about why saying this out loud matters. A lot of people feel frustrated in their careers, not because they're incapable, but because they're trying to force themselves into paths that don't match how they actually want to work. That leads to burnout, it leads to resentment, it leads to constant second-guessing yourself. This video isn't about telling everyone that they should aim for $300,000. It's simply about explaining what it actually takes so people can make an informed decision. For the right person, this path can be challenging and rewarding. It gives you control over your income, flexibility, and how you work, and leverage over time. For the wrong person, it can feel exhausting and unnecessary. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, this sounds demanding, but it also sounds fair, then you're probably the kind of person who can grow in this kind of environment over time. The worst outcome is chasing a path that you don't actually want just because the number sounds impressive.